You know how it is, Kratz. It's Braun and Kratz. I am not a big fan of talking other sports on FT.
Okay.
You know that, right?
I know that. I know. Yeah, I get it.
But, big but, if you bring a
Can
World
I,
Cup audience to a baseball game, I will love
soccer.
you and I will watch your soccer. Not your football,
Yes.
your soccer.
Yes. It's okay if we call it soccer because everybody gets what it is. Yes. You have to be able to, it's so awesome. But hey, there's nobody in Miami to watch baseball games, right?
Oh my gosh. The takeover in Miami was incredible. That was some great video if you're listening to us right now. This is now the second viral moment, right? I didn't miss any. Boston and
Scottish
Miami.
fans.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it Scottish fans both times? I will say I'm not the most tuned in to who the
I don't know
audience
about
is.
Miami. I don't know about
Yeah.
Miami.
Yes. Scottish fans both times. I just got confirmation.
They're fun. They're fun. It makes me want to go to Scotland. I want to go to Scotland.
Actually
Celebrate
makes
Scotland.
me think where right, so they left Boston, now they're taking over Miami because there's World Cup games across the country. I'm like, where are the rest of the countries? Why are you not showing up with your fanatics and going to one baseball game? Why is it only the Scots that are this cool?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're just the most boisterous, or maybe they have the most media attention. I feel like other countries I feel like other countries get hype, but maybe they're just not hype until the next round. And the Scottish are like, we're getting hype the whole time.
Yeah, I want to see another fan base go to a baseball game, like another country's fan base. But I get it. There's been plenty that probably have done the, oh, I'm in Kansas City. I'll hit a Royals game and I'll go to the World Cup. But I want to see like the masses take over. Good stuff. All right, let's charge.
He's charging the mound.
Yeah, we'll start nice and simple here. The Los Angeles Dodgers are just cruising along, and they're the first team to 50 wins. Yawning. They are yawning. We usually do something on the first team to 50 wins. So, congratulations to the Dodgers. You are the first team to 50 wins. At some point, I thought it could be the Yankees, but they don't have Aaron Judge, although they're still playing very well. I thought it could be the Braves, but they've hit a little hiccup over the past couple weeks. I'm not too concerned, although they need some starting pitching. The Dodgers, on the other hand, have plenty of issues, and despite that, they have 50 wins on the season, Kratz. And by issues, I mean there are quite a few starters they're waiting on. They might not even call that an issue when Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell pop up in October and look money like they did last year.
Yeah, I think that's what they're probably planning on. That's how they built this roster to win every day. And even when they're not playing well, like there's been spurts where the lineup hasn't done well. There's been spurts where they were like, who's going to close games for us now that Edwin's down? Like they just keep figuring it out and they figure out in different ways. Robleski comes out of the bullpen and is one of their better starters. Shohei's been down with a knee and then he wasn't hitting. Now he is hitting. Like it's incredible, but I'm not surprised they're first to 50.
So, for example, one of their biggest offseason acquisitions, Kyle Tucker, who had the back spasms the other day, turns out he's not really the difference maker right now. You could look at that as an issue. Hey, Tucker's not doing much. He's not even close to his career norms. Mookie has gone through his struggles at the plate, right? It's not
He was
just
hurt.
the pitching. It's not just who's missing, and there's plenty that's there. The arm depth on this team is significant, but some of the big names have not put up the numbers that you'd expect from them. You can go the other way too with this. Andy Pages is leading the National League outfield vote right now, leading outfielder for National Leaguers, and he's probably the 10th most known name on the team or most popular. And for Dodgers fans that are watching, we're not talking about you. I'm talking about the rest of the world and how they pay attention to your team. If I say, name me Dodgers, how far does it take them to get to Pages?
The only way they figure out when Pages is on the team was they weren't watching the World Series last year because he essentially played himself into a defensive only role. And now this year, he's been leading the league in different categories, and normally I don't agree with the fan voting. They get it right majority. For him to be number one in the fan voting for the season he's had is spot on. And the team just keeps churning. They find different guys to fill in at different spots. And Andy Pages, fans, did not cost the Dodgers $200 million. Okay. So pump the brakes. He's doing it. And you know what? Like it's cool to see.
What else do we like or don't like or are concerned about with this team? I can point to their results last year. Let's not forget they were a wild card team, and if you're a wild card team, I heard Jed Hoyer the other day say you shouldn't push your chips in all the way at the trade deadline. Now, the Dodgers and no team wants to give up a ton of prospects at the trade deadline, but that is the cost of doing business. Andrew Friedman's talked about this, and guess what? Last year, he tried to load up the bullpen so that he wouldn't have to overpay at the trade deadline. He picked up guys like Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates. And I know Scott's recovered, but last year, Scott was not good for them, right? Yates not good for them. So that plan even backfired, but they still were able to figure it out and have plenty of arm talent again through what they built within the organization and other acquisitions. So this time around, currently, they're on a nice pace. They, of course, want to get through the first round with a bye if possible, but we're just about at the half season point and they're 50-29 on the year. What would concern you?
My concern would be for the rest of the league that Mookie Betts hasn't had a great year. He hasn't been healthy the whole year. Freddie Freeman's been good coming on as of late. Max Muncy's been off and on the roster. I think he's leading the team in homers, but I'm not 100% sure. And Kyle Tucker hasn't done anything yet. That's what would concern me about the league, because the league has to figure out how to beat this team. And they have so many ways that they can beat you, and they aren't hitting on all cylinders. For this team, I would say is still the closer role. What is that closer role going to look like? I get it. Edwin's probably going to come back. He's probably going to be 100% healthy. It's just what the Dodgers do. But can they do what they did last year and hope Yamamoto comes out in game 7 and saves their bacon? Like, is Roki going to shift over to the bullpen? Right now, last year at this time, they were like, well, Justin Robleski will definitely shift to the bullpen. Justin Robleski has earned his spot. Justin Robleski's giving them innings. He's giving them length. He's giving them, I mean, it's incredible what he's given them. And I get it. They're going to say, well, you know what? He doesn't strike a lot of guys out, so we want to go with the higher strikeout guys. But right now, I go Yamamoto, Ohtani, and Robleski as your 1, 2, 3 in the rotation
So that's what it would look like if the postseason started
today.
tomorrow for you. And wait, so now fast forward. If let's say the numbers stay the same for everyone and the arsenal and the durability, everything, like if you were playing a video game, all the meters stayed the same between now and October. But then Snell and Glasnow came back. You wouldn't have those guys starting games instead?
Yeah, I would. I would. I mean, they automatically slot in. Obviously, I need to see their starts, but let's say they're career norms, 100%. And then what happens is then I push Shohei all the way back, because Shohei will not, cannot, absolutely won't give you 2 games per series. That's just, I mean, they showed that last year. I don't think they want to do that. I get he was coming off Tommy John last year, but to me, I think you throw one of those 2 guys in there. You throw Blake Snell, I think, assuming he would get I would love to go right, left with Snell, and then I would go back to Glasnow, and then I would go to Shohei, and Robleski is exactly where I said he shouldn't be, into the bullpen, because then you got to go Yamamoto back around for game 5. And then you never get to Shohei until game 1 of the next series.
So you're saying what they did last year in the 7-gamer in the World Series is not ideal, right? Because Ohtani popped up twice
No.
in that series to start. You don't want that.
And
I think
look
you have
how he
to
did
back
it.
that up, because otherwise people are going to go, oh, well, he did that last year. You're saying, hey, he didn't perform as well in that second outing. You have to remember that he's also hitting and running around. And so the energy and the energy that you're exerting in the postseason is heavy, right? The stress levels for everything are high. And then you might run out of gas, even if you're superhuman.
Yeah. And he is superhuman, but you're talking about a guy who I think Shohei has taken his pitching to the next level this year. But I promise every pitcher you talk to, a postseason start is next level exertion. So what Yamamoto did, the fact that he was able to come back out, pitch 3 times in one series, come back out after he had just thrown, like it's next level, and you can't expect that from guys. But, and I'm not demeaning Yamamoto at all, Shohei is hitting and running the bases in between each of his starts. And that is huge. And so for this team to be able to push their way through a postseason series, to me, it's always going to be Shohei not being the guy that comes up twice in the series. Can he do it in a World Series? Absolutely. Anything can happen. Just like everybody's going to say, everything's off the table in Game 7. But if you're planning it, that's how I see the Dodgers planning it.
Hey, quickly on your closer spot. I mean, let's say Edwin Diaz doesn't bounce back the way he wants to. Tanner Scott's got a 2.25 ERA. He just picked up his 10th save after Monday night's win. I think they'd be okay there. There's that bullpen actually has been shining all year, and sometimes that's been the main problem where they're freaking out in the playoffs, right? I mean, last year the freak out was the bullpen. No, 2 years ago the freak out was the rotation.
Yes.
So they were able to figure that out. And to me, that's what makes Dave Roberts really special in the postseason too. He did some things that were unconventional in both playoff runs that I think get overlooked by people nationally because they just want to look at the Dodgers and say, oh, well, they spend the most. Okay, well, the Mets spend second most. Let me know how that's going for them. One more I want to point out that has to do with the front office slicing and dicing, because I've been, I would say, one of the leaders of this ship for the last month and change. Where was everyone else on Erik Lauer? And it might sound like I'm a broken record, but Erik Lauer was the bulk guy in the win for the Dodgers over the Twins on Monday. 6 shutout innings, 3 walks, 2 punchouts. His numbers with the Dodgers now, 5 appearances, a 2.54 ERA, 28 and a third innings. He cost almost nothing. The Blue Jays gave him away for peanuts. I don't even know if they gave them peanuts. Remember we went over like the intricacies of what it was? Like they basically just like took him on, right? But the Blue Jays paid the bulk of the money that was due. So he's like almost a league minimum player. And nobody else wanted that?
I mean, maybe nobody else needs a starting pitcher.
Okay.
Wait, what? Like, huh?
Like, I just don't understand how they end up with him of all teams. How do they end up with him when we're watching him and he's incredible last year? He goes through some bumps this year. Clearly there were issues going on between Roll and what was going on there, right? And he's not the only one that's dealt with that this year. Our buddy on the Pirates, Majinski, had a little bit of that going on. So what happens? He goes to the Dodgers and instantly he's a 2 ERA guy. And he can, I mean, even be a swingman for them, which he was doing for the Blue Jays. So it's hard for me to fathom that they ended up with him. We got to keep running because last word, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's not hard for me to fathom it. It's hard for me to hear people whine and complain that the Dodgers are unfair when they get a guy like this and he's giving them significant innings.
Like, I wish I could do this, is talk to, say, 10 GMs and go, hey, what didn't you like about Erik Lauer? Just curious. Like, what didn't you see?
His peripherals.
Okay. Gotcha. Good to know. Well, let's get to some trade talk. Ken Rosenthal joining us next. You know why you're enjoying this minute? Because we're happy, Kratz. We're happy because we're wearing Mack Weldon.
Yes, I'm 6'5", and nobody can give me tall clothing, but Mack Weldon allows me to have it. So I don't really have to care about how I look, and I still look good because I don't put a lot of time into what I do to pick out my clothes. Mack Weldon takes care of it for me.
Classic, always in style, made from the world's most comfortable performance materials. Summer gets sweaty, don't let unnecessary sweat spots emerge. Mack Weldon's Air Knit X fabric helps you out. Their lightest fabric is fused with nylon mesh for maximum airflow. Skip the midday wardrobe changes. The barely there feel also keeps you feeling more dry and fresh. Don't sweat the heat this summer. Feel as effortlessly cool as you look with Mack Weldon. Go to mackweldon.com and get 20% off your first order of $125 or more with promo code FOUL. That's MackWeldon.com, code FOUL. Your boy Big Woo is back in a big way, Kratz. So we gushed on the Dodgers to start, but there's a clear top four right now in baseball. Yankees on the AL side, Brewers, Braves, Dodgers on the National League side. 10 punch-outs, 6 innings for Big Woo. Brandon Woodruff returning and went perfect through 5 very economically. That's going to help. And the way the Brewers can slay a team like the Dodgers or even the Braves in the playoffs will be having a big 3 or 4. So could it be Woodruff, Kyle Harrison, and the Miz? Bullpen looking good, right? Maybe make an addition at the deadline and ideally make a bat addition, or all the young kids come up and just thrive right away like Jesus Mata and company. Can the Brewers do this if Big Woo looks like that?
I mean, yes, they can. It's the same story we keep hearing. Yes, they can. Can Big Woo stay healthy? Can Big Woo give them enough innings so the bullpen isn't cashed by the end of the season? Can the Brewers hit in every game when they're facing good pitching? Don't forget, Brady Singer had a one-hitter while Big Woo was perfect for this game. So I'm so proud of Big Woo for coming back from what he came back from, and his ability to still get outs when he wasn't 97 to 99 last night.
He was attacking.
So efficient.
It looked like he didn't miss a beat. Like he was, I mean, that is vintage Big Woo, right? Just attacking, challenging hitters. It's the thing that many pitchers tell us when we talk to them on this show, that it takes them some time to actually realize like how good I am, and not dancing around if my stuff's good. If you're a stuff guy.
He went after him, and he didn't have his best stuff.
It's the Inside Scoop with FT Senior Insider Ken Rosenthal. Ken, AJ is out this week, so we are going to talk about the White Sox. Yes, the White Sox with a big win over the Guardians, and it starts to get us thinking, can this team actually do a little bit of adding at the trade deadline to show some signs of life that they care about this year's playoff run without sacrificing too much of the future? Where do you think they stand if they're basically here a month from now?
Scott, I would think that is exactly where they stand. We'll try to improve the club, but without sacrificing too much of the future, because they are still pointing toward a more sustainable future, which all teams, of course, are always pointing toward. So, yeah, I expect them, if they're in this position, to add, and pitching clearly would be the focus. Bullpen, we saw Sir Anthony Dominguez blow the save last night. That's one area. Starting pitching would be another. It's so interesting to me. The Cardinals, the White Sox, the Nationals. 3 teams that never thought they would be anywhere near playoff position, or at least didn't anticipate that. And here they are, and they're going to have to readjust their sights. And that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. And winning is precious. You don't always get the chance to do that, and making the playoffs is precious. So I would expect in each case, those teams, if they are in this position in 6 weeks, and remember, we're still 6 weeks away, they're going to look at this and say, okay, let's see if we can enhance this, keep it going, but without, of course, trading top prospects.
Do you think Chris Getz needs more experience in the trade deadline? I'm not saying you can get it any other way than just enjoy or being in it, but to actually trade and make these moves, we saw with Mike Elias, just there, some GMs can make teams play well, but then the trade deadline can be a little bit hairy.
Well, you're right. That certainly has been the case with Elias in the past, but that doesn't mean Chris Getz is incapable of doing this. And certainly, you're right. He is, Erik, a first-time GM, so he's by definition inexperienced at the deadline, or at least in this aspect of the deadline. He's done it the other way as a seller. So, yes, it's a concern, but at the same time, that's what these guys live for. It's what fans live for. They want to see their team in it. They want to see their team play meaningful games in September, and the White Sox have a chance to do that. So Chris Getz, I would imagine, without having asked him this specifically, is rather excited about the possibility of being a buyer, which he did not anticipate necessarily at the start of the season.
I mean, if you don't anticipate at the start of the season, maybe he doesn't have enough. Is there any issue with money as far as like, can they add that piece? I'm not saying they're adding Skubal, but is there a White Sox issue with money? Because we've heard it before with Jerry. He's not willing to spend in free agency.
There shouldn't be an issue. Their payroll is not exactly over 300 million. It's not even over 200 million. So they should have plenty to spend. And yes, Reinsdorf can be, I don't know the word I want to use exactly, but tight-fisted with the money. But at the same time, there have been times throughout their history under him where he has spent when he felt there was an opportunity to win. And I would think at his age, given that these opportunities are fleeting, he is not going to let money stand in the way here. And Skubal would be an outlier for them. It's not necessarily a logical thing to trade top prospects for a rental in the White Sox position. But if it's, I don't know, a $3 million, $4 million, $5 million addition, I don't see why they wouldn't do that. But again, I'm not the owner of the team and I'm not inside Jerry Reinsdorf's head.
Or in his wallet, which I
Or in his
guess
wallet.
might need a little extra help. You just mentioned Skubal, and we talked to Bob Nightingale yesterday about him or the Braves possibly being a sleeper team. Can you expand on that at all, or the other front runners that you're hearing or surmising?
Well, I wrote last week, Erik, that the most likely teams, not the only teams, but the most likely teams to do this would be the teams that are in position to get a bye, bypass the first round, play a weaker opponent, or at least one that has been expended in the next round, the first round, the division series for those teams. The Braves are in that position. And the Braves are a team also with starting pitching questions. They've had them going back to the spring. For a couple of months there, they were doing just great with their starting pitching. And now you're starting to see some things happen that are troublesome. Spencer Strider gets hurt. Bryce Elder's slowing down. It doesn't look quite as attractive as it did. So why wouldn't the Braves be involved? A few weeks ago, might have been on this show, might have been on my own show, the Fair Territory show. I mentioned the Braves system is not highly rated. And it isn't highly rated by people who do those kinds of things in the media. And then a fan jumped me and said, "You're wrong. Our system's really good." I hear this all the time from fans, but I actually checked. And the Braves see their system as pretty darn good right now and better than the ratings indicate, the public ratings. So, do they have the potential to make that kind of trade? They believe they do, at least in terms of having the players available. Now, do they want to take on the money? Do they want to make that kind of trade for a rental? All of that remains to be seen. But there is no reason to believe the Braves would not be in this mix. And while Alex Anthopoulos, the president of baseball operations, hasn't made this particular kind of deal in his tenure with the Braves, he sure did in 2015 with David Price and getting him for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Hey, Ken, I want to ask you a follow-up on Skubal and the asking price. There's been a lot of debate about what that could look like. How much would get discounted based on this just being only a half season? Like you mentioned, it could rule out some teams like the White Sox. Are the Cardinals, even if they're in the wild card mix, going to trade a lot to get Skubal? So curious, because once the market shrinks teams, and I know there'll still be plenty of teams, it does change the asking price because the bidding changes. So anyway, just curious for your take on how multiple layers could tweak what this looks like.
First of all, it's the acquisition cost that will deter some teams and compel them to offer less than you might think Tarik Skubal would be worth, assuming he is healthy and pitching well at the deadline. We can't necessarily assume that. We need to see that play out. But if he becomes available, you're looking at two things. You're looking at a price in terms of salary, nearly $10 million for the rest of the season. That's one thing that will take some teams out of the equation right then and there. You're also looking at a prospect cost. And I'm sure Tigers president of baseball operations, Scott Harris, is going to drive a hard bargain, as he should, if he is indeed willing to trade Tarik Skubal. So the two things combined, the prospect price, the salary that you're taking on, the total acquisition cost, that can depress the price. The other side of this is it's Tarik Skubal, back-to-back American League Cy Young winner. If he is performing at the peak of his powers, he is the kind of guy who can take a team that is really good and make it into a World Series champion. That is worth the price. And again, we don't know how this is all going to play out yet. We don't know if the Tigers, who are surging at the moment, are going to be in the state of mind where they're not even willing to trade Tarik Skubal. I'm sure they'll listen. They have to listen. But if they are, I don't know, 500 at the deadline and 2 games out in the wild card race, or even better position in the division, whatever the case might be, they're going to think twice. I don't know that that's going to happen, and I don't know that they can keep playing like this the rest of the year, but these various different parts of the equation are all going to be factored into the mix.
All right, one last thing with Skubal, and maybe you don't know this, but when you were just talking there, I was thinking about Shohei Ohtani and putting butts in the seats when he was with the Angels. And Artie Moreno's a different cat. I get that. Is there a case where the front office or even ownership with the Tigers says, no, we got to make sure we get 7 more starts, even if we're out of it, where we want to keep Tarik Skubal because he is beloved in the city of Detroit?
I would think, Erik, that comes into play, but more of what comes into play are the team's chances. And if they believe, hey, we made it to the playoffs the last 2 years. Last year, we nearly made it to the ALCS, came really close. We have Tarik Skubal. Our team is finally straightened out. If all of this happens, then you're looking at that part of it and taking one last chance with Skubal before you lose him to free agency for only a draft pick. And that is the cost-benefit analysis the Tigers are going to have to pursue and embark upon, because it's not an easy answer if they are even close to being in contention. If they're out of it, easy answer, you trade him. But if there's a chance of making the playoffs and maybe even winning the division, yeah, at that point you look at it and you look at it differently. I'm just not sure if the Tigers look at this realistically, and if they look at their team, assuming this surge doesn't continue and they kind of level off again, that they're going to say, you know what, we have a chance to win the World Series even with Skubal. I'm not sure they can see themselves that way. If they end up seeing themselves that way, then sure, you keep him. And part of it does come to the realization that you don't want your fans to be alienated by a trade with a team in contention like that when you've come close twice now.
Yeah, with Tarik Skubal. That's why they came close.
Yes.
But let's go to another Dave Dombrowski team, the team he's with currently, the Phillies. Where is this deadline going to go in the sense of Dombrowski being aggressive? We know he's aggressive. We've asked that, and he's answered every time. Is it a case where you could trade for a major piece with a hurt Aiden Miller, with a beleaguered farm system that had, he was their top guy or one of their top guys? Could they delve that deep into their prospects, or is there another route that the Phillies will need to take?
It's a good question, Erik. And their system is not considered to be that great right now. And yes, Aiden Miller is hurt. He's actually a player that might have contributed to them this year if he was healthy. So I don't know that they have the prospects necessarily to get Skubal, but we talk about this kind of thing all the time. This team doesn't have the players. And yet a team like the Padres, we say that about them all the time. They seem to come up with players. For the Phillies, they're in an interesting spot because they're already over the luxury tax threshold, the highest one. And they are a team that clearly, because of their age and because of Dombrowski's past dealings, are a team that's going to be aggressive. They're going to try to press the issue a little bit with whatever they do. So I would expect they will be active. And remember last year, Dombrowski went out and got Duran, best reliever available. I don't know that they can duplicate that with the right-handed hitting bat that they need. I don't know that there is going to be a guy out there like that. Skubal is an interesting question for me if he becomes available with them, because Dombrowski loves hard throwers. And can you imagine that rotation? Wheeler, Sanchez, Skubal, not necessarily in this order, plus Jesus Luzardo. I mean, that is a potentially World Series championship rotation. So maybe you do some other things to get prospects. Maybe you trade one of your younger hitters like a Bohm or a Stott and redo the team in that fashion. I don't know. But Dave Dombrowski, generally speaking, is yes, very aggressive, and I expect him to be that way again.
The time is now, and the timing is now for the Twins. The Twins are I think, 2 games out of the wild card. They lost last night, so I might be off on that, but don't quote me. Either way, the Twins are in it. Is there a chance they still trade Joe Ryan? Because I feel like with his control, team control, and his ability, he could be a major piece to a team.
They're an interesting club because they have played better than most of us expected. And their new head of the operation, not baseball operations, but the guy who's running the show, Tom Polat, has basically said he wants to contend and wants to win. So if that's the case, you're not going to go in the direction that you went last year, especially if you maintain this position in the AL Central and in the wild card standings. Yes, they are fairly close. They're still under 500. They're not great, but they've played better than a lot of us thought, pitched better than a lot of us thought, especially after trading their entire bullpen last year. So it's too early to know what they'll do with Joe Ryan. And I know your next question is going to be about Buxton. I would read Dan Hayes' article in The Athletic last week in which Buxton was very clear again saying, I'm a Twin. Now, might that change if they trade Ryan and Ryan Jeffers and they tell Byron Buxton, listen, pal, it's going to be a few years, we're rebuilding? I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility, but that does not seem to be the direction Tom Pohlad wants to take this. So I would say Byron Buxton stays.
Okay, let me take you to a team that we didn't necessarily think could be buying at the trade deadline, but right now they are trending that way. The Miami Marlins. So this is a two-parter, and I'm bringing this up right now too because we've got people in the chat asking, and I'm like, bring it on. So Marlins was the next one that came up. Two-parter here for you, Ken. One, do they actually buy? Two, how does this affect Sandy Alcantara's future with the team?
Let me start with Alcantara because this is not your everyday pitcher that you trade at the deadline because he has another year on his contract and it's big money and that's the time to act. He means a lot to that organization. And the owner loves him. The GM, the front office love him. The players love him. He is kind of their heart and soul. So when you're trading him, you're not just trading one of your best starting pitchers, which of course he is. You're also trading a guy who means a lot to the franchise. They've been reluctant to do that in the past. Given the way they're playing, and they too have been hot in June, I would think they're going to be reluctant to do that again. And then it gets to your next question, Scott. Would they actually buy? Certainly, they have the ability to increase their payroll. It's one of the lowest in the game. And certainly, they can look at some things and determine, okay, we can use some help here, there, and do along those lines. But we will see if their president of baseball operations, Peter Bendix, is willing to trade younger players to get present day help. And we have not seen them do that. You asked me about Chris Getz earlier. Can he do that? We don't know if Peter Bendix can do it because he really hasn't done it in a meaningful way. And that will be a test for them. And it will be a test for not just Bendix, but ownership as well, what they're willing to take on. I would think, given what they've done and given that Clayton McCullough has really done a fantastic job with that organization as manager, and with Otto Lopez and Liam Hicks, who's now injured, I know, and Xavier Edwards becoming a player, Max Meyer having a real breakout year. Some really good things are happening there. I would think you'd want to continue enhancing that rather than even mildly tear it apart.
Is there any chance the Nats fall a little bit more out of it because they're clearly in contention that CJ Abrams possibly gets moved because we heard about it earlier in the offseason?
Oh, there's a chance for sure. And especially if they fall out of it or at least slow down and start playing not as well. But Abrams is a little bit tough because most teams do not view him as a quality defensive shortstop. So you're looking at a guy that you would want to change positions. Doing that in the middle of the season is dicey. Few teams will need a shortstop. Actually, trading a position player in general is always difficult because, unlike with a pitcher, you can just plug the pitcher in. A position player, you have to have that spot and you have to make room for him in that sense. Easier to do in the offseason. And my suspicion is that is when the Nationals would do this, if they do it at all. What we should be talking about with the Nationals, if they view CJ Abrams as a cornerstone player, even if he's not a shortstop long term, is an extension. And of course, we don't ever hear that kind of talk from the Nationals. I know they went after him on an extension maybe the spring before last, but the offer wasn't there. So I would suspect that Abrams stays, but maybe becomes a more realistic possibility in the offseason.
Ken, last one from a fan asking about your thoughts on the Brewers. I think it's timely since Brandon Woodruff looked so good on his way back, and you feel like, hey, this could be the rotation that can carry them. I'm less concerned about that, Ken, and I just can't get the image of last year's knockout for them against the Dodgers out of my head, where you feel like you've got it. You've got more young prospects coming up, but really, the bats weren't there, and maybe no bat could solve what the Dodgers pitching had in that particular round in the NLCS. But do you think that they would actually go and look for some really major impact bat to take down one of the young guys that they have in their lineup?
I don't know the answer to that, Scott. And we all know the Brewers are committed to their young talent. Now, I've written about this, I've talked about this with regard more to Skubal, how they have the young talent to go do that if they want to. And it's certainly something that, in my view, they should consider. Of course, we had the example of CC Sabathia years ago and the impact he made on that franchise. They don't seem inclined to do that kind of thing. And I just don't know where that bat would be for them. Ideally, it's an outfielder, a slugging outfielder, but is that guy going to be out there? I'm not convinced he is. And if he's not, then you're not going to do something stupid to pry someone loose that maybe is not even going to give you the bang for the buck that you want. So you raise a great point, because last postseason, when they lost to the Dodgers, clearly offense was the problem. But the Dodgers had one of those amazing series that you just can't say anything about. They pitched that way, and they were at the peak of their powers. And I don't know that any team was going to beat them in that particular moment. So when people say, oh, these small market teams can't win those series, no, they can. And one day they're going to. And it just seems to me that if the Brewers have this pitching intact, with the way their offense goes, if they get hot offensively, like kind of the Blue Jays did last year, granted they had power in the postseason, there's no reason they can't make an extended run.
Yep, that's fair. You know what I mean? Like last year, I'm looking like, does Josh Naylor change things if he's in that series? He had such a good run with the Mariners.
I would say the answer to that is yes, potentially. And maybe not in that series, but let's talk about a Josh Naylor type this year. Would he change things for them? And I would say the answer to that is yes.
I think so too. Sometimes just some infusion of something else to the lineup, right, can make a difference. And it's not like it's a bad lineup. It's just that lineup's very similar from last year and it didn't work in that scenario. So Ken, good stuff. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Scott.
Ken Rosenthal, FT Senior Insider. Next one for you, and great job with the questions today. I tried to be like very clear cut, Kratz. I was like, now we're down to business. There's a little over a month to go until the deadline. It's already happening. So at my name in the chat, let me know your trade question. I'll try to get to as many as I can with Ken over the next few weeks. But if you miss that opportunity, Grill and Ken Mondays and Thursdays. Thursday's your next chance, 12:30 live Eastern on YouTube.
When my puppy Bella has something wrong, I'm not going to go around Googling what to do.
Yeah, Kratz, let's have a better plan. Today's episode is sponsored by the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. It offers customizable accident and illness plans that can fit your budget, your lifestyle, and even your pet's particular quirks. Because let's be honest, vet bills can add up fast. ASPCA Pet Health Insurance has been around for almost 30 years and has covered over 1 million pets. And when it's time to submit a claim, it's easy. Just use their app and receive reimbursement for eligible vet bills directly into your bank account so you can get back to focusing on what really matters, your pet. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/foul. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/foul. Again, that's aspcapetinsurance.com/foul. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independent American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. 2 minutes while TV is in break, and two things to show you. One, Reds fans went nuts after ABS confirmed a strikeout. That was the 11th K, and it won Reds fans some free pizza. I always love that stuff. I remember like long ago, it was before virality, but the Mavericks, the Dallas Mavericks had this promo, and I think it was when they got to like 100 points or something like that, and people were losing their minds. It's really like betting, because you're like, the team could be down a ton or up a ton, and then you're rooting for something else. It's in the same family there. You're betting for a chance to get a little free pizza, but it's fun.
I mean, it was definitely one of the most annoying but amazing things in the minor leagues. You get a free taco if the taco batter strikes out. And I mean, they could care less. They are chanting, "You're the taco batter, taco, taco." And it's for a 79-cent taco, and they loved it. They wanted you to strike out so badly. They would boo you if you swung at the first pitch. I'm like, hey, you know what? If it keeps the fans engaged, everybody should be some type of batter, or there should be a counting clock. I love it. I said this when we had ABS. This is the kind of electric stuff that keeps people engaged in the games.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the other thing about fans, they love Ernie Clement. He is the AL vote leader for the All-Star game. Ernie Clement. Yeah.
I guess sex sells. He's a handsome man.
He's a handsome man. And this part I like. When someone does something so incredible, either in the second half or in the playoffs, you don't get rewarded for the All-Star game. So he's getting rewarded a year later.
Love that.
Let's hit a couple things, and then we're going to get to the College World Series soon too. But let's start with a team that I think has College World Series vibes. It's the White Sox walking it off. They're really good at home. We actually did get a fan question, like, how do you solve the whole home road thing with the White Sox? Because I think I have, just going off my head here, I think they're in like the 10-game under range on the road, and at home they are playing nice. It was a great comeback win for them, and it results in their third win of the season when they're entering the ninth inning trailing. The only team that's better than them in that category is the Cubs, surprisingly, have 6 of those wins. That's really rare to pull that off. I was surprised to see them on that list, but the White Sox are able to pull it off again. So they just got Kyle Teal back. That'll help, I think, the offense and the defense. Things are looking good for a wild card run.
And it's one of those teams that I can't explain why, other than you have the adage, such great energy. They play together as a family. We're never out of it. All that stuff has superseded the fact that they don't have this like superstar on the team, let alone the fact that they don't have the player that was playing the best in Murakami. But when you talk about a guy like Kyle Teal coming back, you say that's an upgrade, because at the catching position, they have not been getting much. Do we know what he's going to do? Absolutely, we don't know what he's going to do. But we know what he can possibly do. And even when we look at some of these stats, they're 23rd in average. They are 3rd in home runs, which everybody loves the homer, so it shows that you need to hit home runs. Their pitching doesn't strike a lot of guys out. Their ERA is kind of high. They walk a lot of guys. So it's like, are they walking a tightrope, or are they a team that plays together and figures out how to win in the poor American League?
And for the Guardians, they know how important this is. They don't have Jose Ramirez right now, so they're trying to tread water. It's weird. You rarely have him out. He's been one of the more durable players, and you don't have many teams that are this reliant on one superstar Hall of Famer for a long period of time. They were trying to go 6-out Cade Smith save in this one, and came up short, of course, with Antonacci getting first pitch on him in the ninth to drive in a couple runs. So they were trying. I mean, the White Sox got to to Cade Smith in this one.
Yeah. How? I have no idea. Oh, wait. They've used him a lot. How do you do it? Like, how do you beat a team in a series? The first game of a series, you say, okay, we may not win this game. How do we get into their bullpen? Now they blew a lead, which is like, oh man, like we had Sir Anthony, he blew the save. Now how do we? Oh wait, Kate Smith's coming back out. We got to him. We saw him. I don't care how nasty your stuff is. Besides Mariano Rivera, you see a guy over and over and over and over again, and we're talking to Craig Kimbrel later on. He knows a little bit about that in the playoffs and being overused. You overexpose somebody, even average big league hitters start to make the adjustment. And, they were able to make the adjustment.
Did you see Sam Antonacci post game? This is what Kratz is talking about. They're all coming together. They're gamers. Here it is. I've got it for you.
It's a team sport. If you're mad about giving up 2 runs in the ninth, take your ass to go play tennis or play an individual sport. So this is a team sport. We got guys back, and we're just trying to keep the train moving.
I almost shed a tear after that one. You know why? I've been on the field doing many of those interviews in the past, and it is so difficult to get you players to say anything interesting at all besides the same 5 things, right? Especially right after a game. It's really tough. Like the best you get, at least for me, the baseball nerd in me, is them explaining an at-bat or a certain situation. But for the most part, it's, we all rallied together. We were grinding out at-bats, blah, blah, blah. And then to just get that subtle, you don't want a team sport, go play tennis.
I mean, tennis guys. I have a lot of friends that play tennis. I don't play tennis. I don't even play pickleball. But like that was a low blow by Antonacci. Low blow. Go play tennis. Like it's like tennis is tough. Maybe play doubles and then your teammate will screw up. No, it is. But it's so true. I'm sorry, Scott, that we don't give you good answers at the end of games. One, I never had any good game-winning hits, or I would have given you a lot of really good answers. 2, you are so locked into the moment. Like, I don't know. You are a different person at the end of a game, in the middle of a game. Like, that's why in-game interviews are, when you can get them and guys are actually engaged, I think they're electric because you're in a spot, you're in a mindset where you are trying your best to compete against the best in the world. And you know what? We just don't give you a lot post game. But I love that he took a shot at all you tennis players out there.
My last one on this game, because it was really good. I got to catch a chunk of it. Patrick Bailey choosing to not slide on his way home. Did you see that little maneuver? And do you think that was on purpose? Because if he slid, he was going to be out. And it's almost like when you see a cool swim move, and it's just the way that you avoid the tag in that particular bang bang moment. But it was like leg drop, hand coming in, other leg drop, and he scored. I thought that was just a cool watch. No? Are you going to talk me out of that?
No, I completely agree. And this is something that I got banged for one time in the big leagues. It's always faster to run through home plate. With the collision rule and everything, people forget because you say, oh man, like, oh, that hook slide was so cool. If you hook slide and you touch with your hand, you're already past home plate. If you sprint through home plate, just like you're running through first base, you're safe. Majority of the time. Just ask Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He's got a World Series ring if he runs through, and nobody even talks about his poor lead at third base. None of that. Like, sliding at home, while it looked ugly for Patrick Bailey, was he safe? Was that the fastest that he could get there? In my opinion, yes. Maybe if you run through it, that's the fastest. But, there's collision. You're not sure. You get to avoid the tag, all that stuff. But a slide is not to avoid tags. But maybe like 1% of the time. A slide is to slow you down. So if you're sliding into a bang-bang play, that is the incorrect thing to do.
There you have it, kids. And this is a state champion coach right here in Erik Kratz. So listen to the man. He knows. All right, we're going to get to the college champions. We just found that out, the College World Series champs, Oklahoma. We're going to talk to Stephen Schoch. You might know him online as Big Donkey, joining us next. Hey, we know what SeatGeek does. It helps us find games that we want to go see in person for less money with a code and with better features than the other spots. So let's look at some games tonight, shall we, Mr. Kratz? What about a little George Kirby Mitch Keller matchup with the Mariners and the Pirates?
Sure, that's fine. That's fine. It's good, and I'm even going to be betting on that later. There's
Okay.
one that's going to tickle my fancy, and I want to see if you can find if you can find the spot for me.
Can you give me
One
a
team
hint?
is one team is surging in the month of June. They're the best team, and the pitcher they have going on the mound is actually his second outing since coming off the IL, and I think he's a big part if this team is going to make a second half run here.
So you think a seat for Yankees Tigers in Detroit with Rodon against Mize is worth purchasing?
I do. I love Casey Mize. I think he is the key. Yes, Tarik Skubal is. But I think if they're going to be legitimate, like Ken said, we're going to actually look at this team as something World Series team. Okay, I don't think anybody in the American League thinks they're a World Series team if you're looking at it honestly. But I think if this team's going to need to have something and believe in it, it's going to go through Casey Mize. With Tarik Skubal, absolutely, but it's with Casey Mize.
Okay. For me, a couple other matchups to keep an eye on. You've got the Phillies Nationals, interesting right now with the way the Nats are playing. I mean, Foster Griffin made him look silly yesterday, and now it's Zach Littell, who started off terribly, but he's rebounded nicely. Luzardo has good home road splits. He's better on the road. So that's one to keep an eye on. Alcantara's pitching for the Marlins in Miami. McClanahan is pitching for the Rays in Tampa Bay. So there's plenty to like. Oh, and wait, I forgot the headliner who we talked about it yesterday. Shane Bieber's back. Shane Bieber debut for the Blue Jays in Toronto against the Astros.
I
Yeah.
forgot he
So
got pushed to today. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. If you want to be a frustrated Mets fan and see if Senga can throw strikes, then you can go to there. You might have to cancel your 10 p.m. dinner reservation in New York. Anyway, code for you. Territory 10 for 10% off MLB tickets. With that promo code at SeatGeek, you can click the link in the description of this episode on the podcast or on the YouTube channel, and the code will be automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Let us know if you use it too, and let us know which game you go to. We'd love to shout you out at some point since we're working with SeatGeek all season long. Be right back with Stephen Schoch. There it is. Oklahoma takes it. Stephen Schoch joining us right now. Big Donkey 47 on X. Follow him across social media channels. He is one of the really, really great parts of college baseball in terms of showing you what's going on, both on and off the field. Stephen, great to catch up with you, man. How you been? And rate this entire Omaha experience just now in terms of entertainment for us.
I gotta say, I'm clearly a biased person. I've been great. Thank you for having me. First of all, sorry, I think about the last part of the question first, but Omaha wise, it was one of those where it's just okay, which team is going to be the hottest and they're going to take the cake. And we got a lot of hot teams clashing. I think, overall the field was really cool to see, having Troy and West Virginia making it out to Omaha for the first time in history for those programs. So it was just really cool to see a bunch of different new faces while seeing a good amount of familiar faces where, we have OU coming back after being there in 2022 and falling in finals. And then UNC, I mean, what Scott Forbes is doing with that team has just been incredible to watch. So it was a really good one. I'm happy anytime it goes to game 3. I hate when it's, decided early and then it's just kind of a rollover, especially because College World Series wise, game 2 is always at like noon on a Sunday, which not the most exciting time to win a championship if you're a team. You do get a good amount of extra time to, of course, go party with your friends, which is great. I love that for them. But winning a College World Series under the lights, I've never done it, but it seems like a really cool feeling. So I'm glad fans got to see that this year.
All right, you said something, the rhetoric that I kept hearing all the time throughout, lead up to games, during the games, the team that's the hottest. Is that is that rare in the College World Series? Because yes, we get what I think Oklahoma was 11th or something in SEC, and they made it all the way and won the championship. But it's the playoffs all the time. Who's the hottest, or is it the fact that maybe some of the talent has gotten dispersed out of some of the teams and throughout the rest of the game?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it has to do with just again catching fire. I mean, my experience is a little different because with my Virginia team, there was a point where I think we were like 33 and it was not good. We had a really bad record and we all ultimately ended up making it to Omaha. It was just a matter of, there's more talent than ever in the college game right now, especially with the portal helping teams just kind of pick and choose who they want to have representing their university for a year, however long it may be. And I think this year we got to see that, if those kids aren't meshing well, if they aren't going out and doing stupid college baseball things like going into the woods playing paintball together, whatever you may choose for your team bonding activities, it's a matter of the talent is there. But if it's not clicking, if it's not firing on all cylinders, in college baseball, it's not a very forgiving game. So if the other team's not giving you free 90s and the top half of your lineup's hot like UNC's was, but the bottom half isn't producing as much, it's gonna get shown in the team that's pitching it well and also has that offensive prowess or is finding that offensive prowess like Oklahoma was throughout the postseason. It'll really spark a fire for that team. And that sometimes is all it takes where you have good pitching. They had a lot of freshmen step up for them, but the bats were there. It's comfortable pitching with a 6-7 run lead, especially even if it's a win or go home situation. It can really put a pitcher's mind at ease where, in Omaha, you aren't necessarily going to have the calmest mind out there on the mound. Mind you, if you're a freshman, anytime you're on the mound, it's going to be a little bit harder, but having that support and having that hot lineup behind you, it'll really just help propel the boat forward.
Did you see? I mean, you follow college baseball so in depth, getting tours and all that stuff. Do you feel like all the freshmen that contributed? We see other freshmen other years, but do you feel like all the freshmen that contributed through this run from different teams is kind of based on what you have helped college baseball become, in the sense that you give tours behind the scenes. You, like, before kids even make it to college baseball, you're like, hey, you want to see their training facility? And now these guys are now joining the program. They're like, oh yeah, I saw what Big Donkey had, and I remember going through this. And so, is it more of a comfort level for freshmen now to be able to then just go out and play baseball and not worry about like all the other crap that you have to worry about as a freshman?
Yeah, I think just having that familiarity, like I don't want to take credit for, oh, this freshman came and did really well. I don't think that has much to do with my Twitter. I'd be honored if that is the case. And, if you are a freshman, you're like, hey, I wanted to come to do college baseball because of your tweets. Fire me up, send me a text message. I'll send you a free hat, whatever you want. Um, but just the fact that, these kids can really know what they're getting into. And I think in the era of the transfer portal, there's more value than ever in coaches being transparent and just kind of showing who they are. Like, sometimes you would go to a program and it's like, okay, you get there as a freshman and this coach, on paper when they're recruiting you, it's like they're giving you the horse and pony show, everything's great. And then when you get to campus, it's like this guy's a complete hardo. That is not who was recruiting me. And I don't think that's the case anymore because it's like, look, you got to retain these players year after year because the option is there to go home or not go home, but go to a school that they want to go to next year. And, if they go out and play summer ball, for example, with a bunch of kids from LSU and they're like, yeah, Jay Johnson, he's dope. It's sick playing for the Tigers, which obviously it's going to be. If I'm a freshman who just had a really good freshman year, but I don't like my coach or, he's more of a hardo and he's not meshing with who I am as a person, there's more incentive than ever to just go, okay, well, I'm going to go get my bag playing somewhere else. And I think just having that transparency and knowing what's out there, what it looks like at the next level is really important for these kids because, for some guys, they're picking college ball over going to the draft now because, on the converse side of things, seeing what's going on in the minor leagues is back when I was growing up, back in 2010, what the minor leagues looked like, way different than what it looks like now. But it was a lot of, okay, after this game, we're getting fed a plate of beans and rice. It's not very fun. It's not as fun as that college experience you could be getting. And now there's that financial aspect of it too, where, you aren't missing out on a signing bonus. And I think in some cases, people will be making more money than they would make from going to pro ball just through the NIL side of things. So I think it's just having that comfort level and understanding like, okay, look, when I get to this facility, it's something that, 4 years from now or 3 years from now, if I get drafted, I'm going to miss a heck of a lot.
You're missing a good time. I hear that. All right, let's hit Oklahoma. What's your favorite story or storyline from this Oklahoma run? Is it a player? Is it Jackson Willits? Is it the Branch brothers? And then the Branch ends up hitting a homer to end his season, just like his brother did. What is your favorite storyline that we should, as fans, focus in on?
All right, so the Branch brothers, that's a story you can't write it any better. Growing up as a little brother, it's like, look, I wanted to play baseball because I saw my older brother do it and I want to do it better than him. And it's like, okay, but I'm out here winning the College World Series, so I really don't want to overshadow my brother too much. So in my last at bat of the season, I'll pop one over the fence, but it won't be the most crucial one or anything like that. So he's not taking anything away from his older brother. But one thing that I think not many people paid much attention to was early on in the postseason. So in regionals, when they're in that do or die game versus Georgia Tech, winner advances to super regionals. Dayton Taki, the first baseman, he fouls a ball right off the plate, corner of the plate, hits him in the nuts. I don't know. That's something as a pitcher, I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. I would be fearful to throw the next pitch inside just because I'm looking out for the kid. That's how I am as a person. But then, 2, 3 innings later, he pops a 400-foot walk or 450-foot home run dead center over the batter's eye to send his team to supers, keep the season alive. I think that's one point, especially looking back now, seeing what they were able to do after that and see how they were able to turn around their postseason. That's something that I think deserves more light because, I'm not to say that I'm not a tough individual, but if that happens to me, that's a pretty good excuse for, me not to perform well. And he was just playing carefree. He was like, hey, look, people will understand if I'm not performing well, but I'm going to go ahead and be the hero we all need.
Who made a name for themselves in this series that we didn't really know about before this?
So I think Deaton LeChance, the catcher for Oklahoma, a lot of people knew about him already, don't get me wrong, but just what he was doing with pitches outside of the strike zone. I believe he had 6 hits on pitches out of the zone, my favorite of which was a home run about, right at his eyeballs. And watching the kid set up as a hitter, it's like he's very arm barry. His hands are like almost in the left-hand batter's box, it looks like, because he is a gigantic fella. And for me, he's a Canadian guy. He's down here from Quebec. He learned English about a year ago, and he's got great English now. He did great with the media. But for me, I loved watching that swing because it feels like, okay, this is a big Canadian lumberjack, and he was made to chop wood. He absolutely crushed the ball. But I think just showing the raw power he has, not many walks on the season. I think he only walked like 22 times this year. But with what he was doing with pitches outside of the zone, it makes sense because, hitting pitches, they call it the strike zone for a reason. Pitchers are designed to throw it here so hitters at least have a chance. And this guy's like, I don't care if, on paper, this is a bad pitch to swing at. I know I can make hard contact. That's something I'm always rooting for because I like the unconventional. I like the weird.
How about an arm? How about an arm we didn't know about that possibly popped on the scene here? I get everybody knows a lot of people, but somebody that really opened your eyes.
So someone that opened my eyes, I guess it was just something I missed throughout the season, but UNC freshman Jackson Rose, he had a 2.55 ERA. And this was a stat I didn't know till they brought it up on the broadcast, but he threw 128 sliders and gave up 0 hits on that coming into the College World Series. I don't recall if he gave up a hit on the slider. I feel like I would have heard it if he did, but I don't think he did during that game. So going the whole season throwing one of your pitches and not giving up a hit on it, that's just something that, you know, I don't think that happens that often. That's probably a stat that's a little bit harder to track, a little bit hard above my pay grade. I don't think they track that at the college level. In the MLB, I'm sure they have all sorts of different metrics about what happens on every pitch. But just to be able to, put on that performance as a freshman, he didn't necessarily do phenomenal in the game he started against Oklahoma, but it's Oklahoma's offense. You aren't supposed to do great against that. So I think he was one who really opened a lot of eyes. And then the older Mercurius brother, LJ Mercurius, I mean, every time he went out there, he just looked like a big league pitcher. Like it was a mature approach. Any of his misses, they weren't too bad, but he really tunneled well off those misses. He yanks a slider, for example. He's throwing a backdoor two-seamer to a righty. And I love when we can find pitchers like that because it's just like, okay, this is the pitching coach literally playing MLB The Show in the dugout. He's hitting the button on the pitch com. I used to make that joke before we had pitch com, but now he's literally hitting those buttons and just playing a video game with this guy out there on the mound.
That is a solid joke. And I was trying to look it up. What pitcher did you say? Because we do have stats on the fact that did he give up who was it again? What was his name?
Jackson Rose, freshman left-handed
Okay.
pitcher from UNC.
Okay. I'm going to look it up, see if he gave up a hit, see if my statistician can find it or not. But I want you to hit, while I'm looking it up, I want you to hit on the possible or the proposal that owners gave the other day to not allow high school players to be drafted. You also tweeted after that would be a huge influx of talent for NCAA baseball all across the game. What is your true feeling on that and how that will, yes, it'll improve the college game, but do you feel like it will diminish a little bit of value that some of these guys can get?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I don't know how many I think Bryce Harper had 2 MVPs before he would have been draft eligible under these new rules. So it's like, that's insane stuff. I would love to see what sort of NIL money Bryce Harper would be bringing in on a contract. I'm sure he'd probably be down in Baton Rouge at LSU. But just the amount of talent that college baseball would see from that. I mean, even in 2020, when the draft got cut down to 20 rounds from, I believe it was like 40, 42. Don't quote me on the numbers again. I pay attention to college. And when the cut happened, I was in college hoping to get drafted. And I was like pretty upset about it. So I didn't think about it too much. But just the amount of talent we've seen from then until now, like in 2021, for example, I believe the home run leader was Wes Clark. He had 24 home runs. Now it's like 24 home runs is your average second baseman in the SEC. So I love seeing the talent level in college baseball go up. I think this would obviously force those kids to have to play in college baseball. So you'd have to have more talent. But I think as a whole, I don't think that's the best thing for the game of baseball because there are so many talented high schoolers where, you see guys playing college baseball and it's like, Caden Glauber, for example, from UNC. He was a freshman. They went 29-0 in games he pitched until the College World Series. He came in for about 6 pitches. He was clearly tired, clearly laboring, 29-1 in games he pitched after that. So what? That's a great season. I don't think we get that if we have this rule, especially considering the fact that that kid is 17 going on 18. He's supposed to still be in high school this year. He graduated early to do it. So I think it would be cool to see the amount of talent. I would think we would have to shift to something like wood bats just because it would be getting downright dangerous. Like I think about Mike Trout with a, drop 3 BB core bat. I wouldn't want to be playing third base. I'd probably pitch with a face mask on because, my center cut fastball is not necessarily going to the back of the catcher's mitt more often than not against a guy like that. So I think it's something that, the owner or whoever's throwing it out there is just kind of throwing it out there. It's all that, made up hypothetical situations right now. So who will know what it'll actually look like, what they'll actually agree upon. But I think taking away the high school element of the draft is just, not really cool in my opinion, because as a high schooler, I always thought about how cool it would be to get drafted, like playing in college, it's a great thing. And for a lot of guys, it is a goal, but ultimately the goal for a lot of these guys is playing baseball as long as they can, which, playing in a beer league is fun, don't get me wrong, but playing playing it for money and getting, to make a living out of it, that's the dream for all these guys. So I think it would kind of take away from what we have, especially in the minor leagues. I think the minor leagues are a lot better than people give it credit for. Like just being able to go and see the amount of development that these kids go through. There's a reason why when minor league coaches get hired by colleges, they make really great head coaches, even if they were just like cleaning minor leaguers' shoes at that point, because the amount you learn there is just insurmountable because you aren't focused on what's going on in chemistry class if you're, a higher learner, or like me, your communications and business administration classes. But either way, it's one of those things where I don't want to see minor league baseball go away, especially because, growing up, I loved going to Bowie Bay Sox and Frederick Keys games. It was so fun. I remember watching Dylan Bundy debut for the Frederick Keys next to Jim Tomei, and that wasn't something that I was ever used to. And, Jim Tomei is sitting 4 or 5 seats away from me, and it cost our family like $25 to be there. That's something that, the game actually needs more of, in my opinion. So while college baseball is great and I love it more than anything, don't get me wrong, I think that, minor league baseball is extra important for these guys and just extra important for baseball as a whole.
Yeah, I hope they realize that because long term it could really hurt the next generation of fans if you're not like me too, falling in love with, going to a Somerset Patriots game for $15, to bring a couple people, the whole deal. I'm the same way, dude. So well stated. The answer was perfect. Thank you for joining us. Great to have you on at Big Donkey 47 for a lot more fun content, plenty of virality throughout the whole College World Series just now. Now the draft's coming up. So go give him a follow if you don't already. Appreciate you, man. Good talking to you. Talk to you soon.
Of course. Thank you all for having me.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back. Jazz Chisholm has a lollipop drama situation. Lollipop gate. Kratz, Mint Mobile plans, still just $15 a month.
And you're getting a ton from that $15.
That's right. And we've talked about this for a while. It hasn't changed. It's still all there for you. I'm talking about unlimited talk, text, and data, fast, reliable coverage on the nation's largest 5G network. Oh, and an award-winning care team. Mint Mobile has it all for $15 a month. You can even bring your current phone and your number, choose from 3, 6, or 12-month plans, say goodbye to a monthly bill, ditch overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/territory. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. Garrett Crochet won't begin throwing yet, according to manager Chad Tracy. This came in yesterday, Monday. Today is now Tuesday. So Crochet had a scheduled reevaluation of his shoulder. It showed improvement, but not enough time to take that next step. So Kratz, we're playing the game here again. Ready? We're into August, at least.
At least. I mean, right when you said that, I didn't realize that he hadn't even started throwing yet. Now, does that mean he's not? He's playing catch, but he's not off the mound? Like, that's bad. Like, that's not good. Like, we are nothing. Right? That's how I read it. August. You're lucky if it's August. We're looking at September right now because he's been out for weeks, and you just multiply. It's just a multiple till he can even get off the mound. It's the same amount of time he's been out.
And then you're going to slow play it at this point. If you're going that deep in with the way the Red Sox have been playing, there should be no rush. So we heard about that one. And one other I'll sneak in there too that I saw right before the show started was Justin Steele, and how if he returns, it would probably be in a bullpen role for the Cubbies. So that's a tough one too, because it looks like he'll lose another full season, at least as a starter. Although, hey, the Cubs could use him in the bullpen if he comes back late. You got to get there. But the Cubs have a better chance, much better chance of making the playoffs. So that one at least feels a little bit more real to me. The Crochet news just means he's not going to be with you for the run that you need leading up to the deadline. You're going to sell before the deadline.
Maybe see if he got anything left, but nah, don't.
Yeah. Lollipop Gate has hit New York City. Jazz Chisholm with a lollipop, playing around with it while he's in the field in a real game. And Aaron Boone has responded. He said, quote, "It pisses me off," when he thinks about the fact that Jazz brought that out and was messing around with it on the field in a big league game. He said, quote, I didn't know about it until after the game. He and I talked, and that won't be going on. Give me more, Kratz. Have you ever seen this? How much trouble do you get for this? Kangaroo court? Or do you just say one and done, don't do that again, bro, and we move on?
I mean, Aaron Boone saying it pisses me off is not kangaroo court. Like, kangaroo court is, man, you made another terrible challenge. Like, you're really cooking us here. I don't understand it. I don't understand why he thought this would be a good idea. Like, he's not UL Washington, who used to play with a toothpick. He used to play back in the day. Look it up. Every picture almost that he would have, it's because he was trying to quit chewing tobacco. Dusty Baker would have a toothpick in his mouth when he was managing. I don't know if he did it when he was playing or not. Like, I remember trying a toothpick because I was like, tense when I was hitting. I remember the first pitch, I had a toothpick in my mouth. I like crunched it in half, and it was just in shards in my mouth. And I stepped out of the box, spit it out, and I was like, well, that's never going to work. No, like a lollipop while you're playing. What is one of the things that irritates me is nonchalantness. Is that what it is? Is it just being like, is it trying to be nonchalant? Did he have some type of like low sugar? Did he need to get a sugar spike? What was happening there? Like, I feel like it's something that shows me that maybe he's not as focused on the things he needs to be focused on.
Do you think there's any audience that's like, let the kids play and let them play with a lollipop, or everybody should be pissed off on this one? I'm asking. For me, you know me, Kratz. I like to have fun. This to me would be my line where I'm like, dude, if you feel like you need like the mouth asphyxiation kind of thing, there are plenty of other options where you don't have to actually hold it and you have a stick coming out of your mouth in a big league game and you're doing this, right? Mouth, and you're bringing it back out. Like there's the very simple gum. There are seeds, and there are a number of other things.
He could have easily just cut the stick off and had a lollipop in his mouth if that's what he wanted. Like, he just wanted to suck on a lollipop and he wanted the gum in the middle. I get it. Hey, his choice was tremendous. I mean, you're talking about it looked like the gum in the middle with a sour apple. Sour apple.
Yeah, sour apple.
Green apple.
Yep.
Green apple. It's the best. It's absolutely the best one. I have one in my truck almost at all times in case I'm driving somewhere and I need a pick-me-up. Never have I ever thought about having one in a game. And I feel like it borders on unprofessional. And I don't, maybe I'd be considered, oh, you're an idiot. You're wearing your hat backwards. You don't know anything about unprofessional. Like, there's a level of how you handle yourself. And I'm not sure what his reasoning would be. I haven't seen anything, his response, but I respect Aaron Boone as much as I respect any manager in the game. And for him to say it pisses me off, and I didn't know about it until after the game, he and I talked, and that won't be going on again. Like, you don't have to do that. You're not babysitting kids. Guys, don't do that. Like, I'm a high school coach. I'm like, guys, we're not checking our phone. Like, we don't, well, I got to see if my mom is going to pick me up. Like, okay, well, just ask me. And then I'll say, go check your phone. But that's the kind of thing, like, hey, Jazz, no lollipops. No lollipops in, oh, come on. I want one. It just feels very immature and unprofessional.
Do you think that there's any sense of testing your parents out like a kid would do, where you're like, I'm going to see if I can pull off bringing a lollipop onto the field.
Yes. Yes, just watch what Jazz did last year at the he wanted to do the home run derby and he was like, whatever, man. Like, I'll just do what I want to do. Like, it's cool, man. I'm just gonna be as cool as I can. I'm gonna go and swing Aaron Judge's bat and I'm gonna hit some dingers. Nobody showed the strikeouts that I had because the bat was too big for me, but they showed all the dingers. What a cool story. I'm gonna take a green apple lollipop out there and it'll be fun. It'll be cool. See what I can get away with.
Hmm. Hey, I know he wants to cash out big in free agency, and he's definitely a good player. But these are the moments where you got to weigh if it's worth it. You can have fun, you
How
can
much?
say things, but the lollipop is pushing it.
How much? You said he wants to cash out in free agency. There's a difference between Jazz Chisholm and Erik Kratz. Erik Kratz is looking for a job. Like, let's get that straight. I can't do that kind of stuff. Jazz Chisholm's a very good player. Maybe statistically, you're looking at second basemen in the game. Do you think he's last year's stats? Do you think he's his career stats? Whatever it is, he is up there. He should get paid for second baseman. So you're talking about him wanting over $100 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
All of a sudden, you're like, I'm paying a guy $100 million that's willing to, make selfish choices on the ABS system, suck a lollipop at second base when you're like, 100 million, I'd take him for a 2-year deal. Like, those are the kind of things that you, as a owner, you have to think about.
I'm with you. So it sounds silly. Trust me, it does. And there are more important things in life, but that's what this show does. We bring this stuff up, and there is a line, and the line was crossed. And Aaron Boone will defend players to death. So if he's saying how pissed off he is, then you should know he's at a 10 out of 10 on the pissed off meter, feeling like he's getting taken advantage of for being a player's manager. Okay, with that being said, our player guest of the day is coming up next. We're excited to catch up with Craig Kimbrel.
And then also a follow-up to that, I guess, is I'm sure you're just as enamored with Joe Mack as we have been behind the plate and offensively. The bats coming together, hitting for more power. So my question is, Agustin Ramirez. We know what he can do with the bat. We sort of know what he can't do with the glove. I'm curious. This team has preached defensive versatility all year long. Why not with Gus?
We still think that Gus being able to catch is a big part of his value. And so he's going to continue to catch some in AAA. We have had some internal discussions about the potential of exploring that first base. There's definitely we see that as a potential possibility, but then also that moving away from the catcher position, that point it's not reversible. Like once we kick the tires, then it's done. And can Gus still? We believe, can Gus catch, X amount of games during a season? Can he catch versus left, start games versus left behind the plate? And that's valuable. And I mean, to pull off first base like every day, like you have to really hit and like just DH. Mm-hmm. So there's also how would Gus perform offensively if he only focused on hitting? And we don't know that either. So we still feel like we're at a spot where we want to continue with the catching progression. We want to keep that option open. And I think the entire time we have been discussing the possibility at some point where we do introduce or reintroduce, because he's played a little bit of first in his earlier minor league days, but we haven't had those conversations formally.
Hey, we're here. Clayton McCullough, by the way, joins Fish on First frequently, our Marlins show, which we're excited about. That's part of the FT network. So he talked about trade discussions. He talked about Agustin Ramirez, who definitely has bat potential, but just not sure if he'll be a long-term catcher anymore.
There's a lot of work that he has to do, and I think it takes a lot longer for some guys to learn defensively. Some of his mechanics I don't love. There's a lot of good catching coaches out there, and I feel like he could still learn back there as long as they're okay with his bat squandering in the minor leagues, because he's got a big league bat right now, but minor league catching.
Joe Mack's good. I know you mentioned him yesterday. I mean, that's the kind of guy that can change the game for a team. And most teams that go far in postseasons have catchers that can do it all. That's the key. I'm biased because I do a show every day with Kratz and AJ, but we know it's true.
Not just hitting. You don't have to just hit. You can play defense and win a lot of games behind the dish.
Oh, yeah. Fun year for the Rays, and we're talking to Craig Kimbrel right now, Rays reliever, joining us back on FT. Thank you so much for doing this, Craig. Great to have you on. How's life, dude? How you liking the Rays right now?
Yeah, the weather down here in Florida is nice. It's nice and hot, but it's nice to be back in the trop. Just kind of thinking about what they did last year outside down here in this weather. It's team's nice and happy to be back in this Tropicana field.
When you're walking in, because you probably have a close spot at the trop because it goes on service time. We've talked about that. But when you're walking in and you got a little armpit sweat and you're like, dang, come on, I'm getting a chest sweat too. Do you think about that? Is that like your thought? Like, I'm glad we are not outside.
No, absolutely. Every day, just get in, get in the AC and get going. You can still get a sweat going inside, but it's nothing like being outside in the summertime in Florida for sure.
I mean, are you still throwing the rod in the water a little bit though? Like you can handle the heat on the
Since
boat,
I've been
right?
down there, I haven't yet. I did a lot of fishing in spring training, but I got to worry about my job right now. I can't be ripping lips too much right now.
Okay, well, that's what I was going to ask you. How focused do you need to be on your job? And I got so many different ways to go about that because a lot of times you see veterans and they're like, bro, I'm good. Like, I know exactly what I need to do. How much do you have to focus and stay away from like the other things that kind of get in the way?
I think a lot of times that all depends on where you are. There are times physically and mentally you show up and you're like, I can feel like I can pick up the ball and go out there and do my job and not think about it too much. And then there's other times where you're like, I need to hone something in a little bit and I need to practice something a little bit more. Let it be focused. I need to shift my focus a little bit more towards, my daily routine if it's something's changed. But anytime you get a chance to step away and fish or golf or do anything like that, that can be actually something to be very good. Just kind of get your mind off of it at times because we got such a long season. But I'm just saying right now, and in my progress coming off the IL and get back on the field, it's definitely more on getting back to my routine than it is taking care of my hobbies.
How hard is that? As a veteran guy, thinking about anytime you're on an IL when you were younger compared to now, because we just talked about Verlander. I don't know if you saw his quote was, you want to push your body to the limit till it breaks. And he goes, maybe it's actually breaking right now because he just pulled his hamstring and he's going to be out for 4 weeks. How hard is that at this point in your career to be able to, one, deal with, but two, also be able to rehab back from?
No, I mean, absolutely. I think a lot of times it depends on what it is, obviously, but playing this game for so long, you get an idea of when things feel right and when things feel wrong, and how far you can push your body. Because I mean, that's what we do as professional athletes: is we go out there and push our bodies to the limit every opportunity that we get to go out there. Cover and then go out there and do it again. So we kind of have a pretty good gauge of where our meter is and controlling that and knowing when we need to push through and gain more, or if we're in a spot that is a good spot to be in, let it be strength, speed, you name it. There are spots that you want to be in and you can hold on to, and then there are times where you're like, hey, I can keep on building, I can keep on getting stronger. I feel like I can hit the ball harder or throw the ball harder. And you can feel like, hey, I'm gaining, I'm growing, and it's not slowing me down. So the body feels pretty good. And I think it's just a constant battle throughout the season of, finding that line and staying on it. Because as soon as you take a day off, sometimes you're having to take too many days to get back to where you were.
All right. When you came on the show and you saw yourself on the screen, did you look at your hat and go, oh, that's right. Yep. Rays. Has it been hard to keep up with the fact that now you're with the Rays? I think this is your 11th big league team, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think I can't even keep up with that now. I just I enjoy the game. The game itself, no matter what uniform you're putting on or what hat you're wearing, um, the game's the same. The idea of going out there competing every single night with a group of guys who care and have passion about the game and want to show up and win every single night. It doesn't matter what uniform you're wearing, and to still get that opportunity to do it and share some of the things I've learned through the years, and continue on learning with how our game continues to change and all the information we have, just continue to you know try to grow, learn, and go out there and use that information to have some fun.
Do you feel like you're chasing something, or do you feel like you're giving more to the game? Like, do you feel like we had Kenley Jansen on and he's chasing this number, that number? We had another closer on. He wanted to be the most appearances by a Mexican pitcher. Are you chasing something, or do you feel like you're giving more to the game as a vet?
I think the game is still giving a lot to me. I mean, I have the opportunity, like I just said, to share the things that I've learned. But man, I'm getting so much back from the guys I'm getting the experience each and every day with. Getting to bring my kids in here and then let them experience, daddy being a big leaguer and what it is to, learn manners and how to be around a group of guys that are in here working, and just all those little things that I've really started to enjoy over the last couple of years, just being able to bring my family in here and letting them be a part of it. And it's very gratifying, and I enjoy it every single day. And if I can wake up tomorrow and come back in here and do it again, I'd say it's a good day.
That's so sick. What did the Mets say? Well, can you walk us through, like, when the Mets signed you, called you up to the big leagues, to the point of when they got rid of you? Is it still at this point in your career, it's not you, it's us, it's a numbers thing? What was the conversations that you had with them?
I mean, it's a lot. I mean, I would say my experience with the New York Mets was an extremely positive one. The respect that they gave me, the conversations that we have through, bringing me into camp, not making the open day roster, and then eventually getting the opportunity to come and try to help them out, and just conversating through that, and understanding what my role was with the team, and what I was trying to achieve physically to, obviously still trying to help the team win. Each and every night. And I think our conversation between, me and the organization was amazing. They treated me well, first class, and they gave me this opportunity to be down here in Tampa, something that they didn't have to do, but in respect for me and knowing that I want to pitch at the big league level, they gave me this opportunity, and I have to thank them a lot for that.
Are there, and I should have looked this up, any of your teammates that you've played with the last 2 years that are young guys that have gone, holy cow, that's Craig Kimbrel? Is anybody like enamored by the fact that you're Craig Kimbrel? That's like a young guy that's just into the league.
Yes and no. I think it goes away pretty quick once they get to know me. I think over the last year or so, I think it's been more of a fun game to the youngest guy on the team to come up and tell me that he watched me when he was in elementary school or middle school or whatnot. And it's fun. I really enjoy it. It lets me know how long I've haven't had this opportunity to do this. And I was those guys at one point. I got an opportunity at 21 years old to play with a guy that I looked at as one of the greatest players, being an Atlanta fan, and I was in that shoe too. So it's fun. It's we have fun with it. Um, it's I'm glad I can sit here and say that guys get the joke on that I'm still playing, because I enjoy showing up every day, and a lot of the times if they joke on me too much about being old, I'm like, come on, let's go in the weight room. Let's see if you can keep up with me. So
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun games.
exactly. I obviously I was never a good player, but I played for a long time, and I know what it was like to be old and the old jokes, all that stuff. But you got to give me at least one guy who you're like, man, I can't believe that guy like told me he played. Like, who was somebody that came up to you and said it that you're like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely call him out for it here.
Oh man, I'll go ahead and put this one because I don't know if you'll talk to him, but earlier in the year we were kind of joking on the bus about what like if someone was a millennial or Gen Z, and someone's like, what's Craig? And Carson Bench said, "Isn't he from the Great Depression?" And so that was a pretty quick turnaround, and he kind of hid in the back of the bus. But I'm pretty sure someone put him up to it. But that was a pretty good one. I'm not that old, obviously, but I got the gist of his joke.
Wait. Okay, so people don't know. People don't know. Like, hiding in the back of the bus. You put him in the pooper, right? You put him in the toilet for saying that, right?
No, I might have made him bring me a drink and just set it right in front of me and not drink it. But he didn't have to go. He didn't have to go in the bathroom. I think it was a pretty short bus ride.
You're so nice. You're such a nice
I'm
veteran.
I'm too nice sometimes. I think so.
Okay, well, that's why the rookies. I always told people the rookies haven't changed. Like, they still have the same mouth as when you were a rookie. I almost said freshman. When you were a rookie, the difference is the veterans have changed. You're so much nicer. Chipper would have never let you say that when you were a rookie.
Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. There's a lot more rookies nowadays though, so it's kind of
That's
tough.
true.
They kind of gang up on us.
That's true. That's true. Hey, one quick question about the closer on your team, Brian Baker, who's not really closed until this year. Do you have conversations, or has he asked you any questions about being a closer? Because I always talk about on the show, and other guys conversating, we talk about closing is different. Yes, it's still 3 outs. Yes, it's the main part of the lineup, usually 2, 3, 4. But do you guys have any of those kinds of conversations since he's essentially new to it at, I think, like 31 or 32 years old?
I think we definitely had conversations about pitching and when to use things and how to use things and kind of seeing moments. But I played with Bake a couple of years ago in Baltimore and got to know him there. Got to see the stuff that he has, and his stuff's electric. And being 2 years removed from that and seeing what he's doing now, it just I see someone who's understands how to compete and what they have, and then taking the next step and using his competitive mentality to make it even that much better. He's always been a huge competitor, very fiery guy, and now you put him in a role where he can finish the game, and the last out that he makes, it can take a breath and celebrate with the team. I think he's really embraced that role, and he carries that role. He wants that role, and he's you can see how much success he's having with it. And it's very happy to see him do that, especially playing with him 2 years ago and seeing where he was and what he's been able to mold and turn himself into as a competitor, a big leaguer, and now going out there closing games and what he's been able to do to put the team on his back. It's very, very encouraging to see, and very happy for him.
Craig, you've been in the game a long time. Can you recall your scariest moment in the bullpen? Visiting, like just sitting in the bullpen, maybe even walking into the game, like where you were like, okay, that took another level, more than just like, hey, Craig, you suck, hey, all that stuff. Give me a ball.
I mean, I think it for all of us, I think you have to go back to the first one. The first time you go down to the bullpen, the first time you get and you're sitting there and you're waiting for the phone to ring, you don't know if it's going to be you. You're nervous, you're excited, you don't know how to feel, you don't know what to think. I think the first opportunity you get to go out there and compete um, is the most nervous and most exciting I think you'll ever be as a professional.
So, do you think that fans now are better than they were? Like, how are fans these days in visiting bullpens? Like, I remember, didn't you have a fan chuck something at you once or twice in like Philly or New York?
Yeah, probably more than I know. I've only know one coming out of New York in 18 during the playoffs. I had a beer thrown at me. but I'm sure I've made a couple people want to throw some stuff at me over the years, but that kind of comes with the job.
Yeah, and if you're dominating, they don't
Yeah, they're
like you.
not too bad. They're not too bad down the bullpen. I mean, security usually does a pretty good job, as long as they keep it PG and you know make it to where kids aren't hearing things they shouldn't. I think we enjoy it sometimes when they get pretty funny and you can make us laugh. I think you're doing a pretty good job.
Okay, so now I want to get to a very important last part of the conversation here. So we teamed up with Simon's Heart to make sure that people are aware of heart health and how conditions can be cured if you get on top of it early on. I'll explain more in a moment, but can you explain your connection to a cause like this?
Yeah, we've been involved in various different organizations over the years, not just heart health, but just health in general, cancer. I'm trying to help children, but this, when it comes to heart health, it's something that me and my family have walked through firsthand. Our daughter was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, and just walking through that, and she's good now. She's 8 years old. She's gone through that process, but just learning how easy it is to be born and something not be right, or something to evolve over time. Heart health is it's something we don't talk about a lot, but something that is extremely important for us to just survive. And learning through it, and then learning how common it is for kids to be born with it, or people to develop it over the years. It's something we got to pay attention to. The more we're aware about how we physically work, or how diet wise what's best for us based on who we are as a person, or how our body works. All those things are very important, and it all starts with the heart, and without it, we wouldn't be walking around. So I'm glad y'all brought this up. It's something that's very important to me and my family. We walk through it every single day, and will for the rest of our daughter's life. But it's amazing that there's so many organizations and hospitals and people out there that put so much time, effort, and money into helping people save people's lives and loved ones' lives, and just making it to where it's not something that will end the life, but something that we can work through and understand a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, most heart conditions are detectable and treatable. So, if you don't mind, do you remember the time period when you were experiencing that, and how scary it was, how much you learned about the situation, and how much it was helpful to have support around you? I think you took a beat from the team so you could make sure everything was okay at home. The whole deal there.
Yeah, I mean, we found out very early. I mean, with the imaging, we actually found out when we went in to, find out what gender she was, and they look at the heart and the lungs and the brain and all those things. And that's when we found out. But it's also because we found out so early, it gave us the opportunity to put a team together to give her care at Boston Children's Hospital. And I can't say enough about how much they helped us, how much they helped our child, obviously, and just working through the process, that it's not a one-time thing. It's a lifetime relationship of working through, and making sure everything's okay, and checkups, and um it's a never-ending thing. But now that we can sit here and talk about it, there's so many people out there that are in need of funds and places to stay, and food. Families, the child who or person who is affected by it, it hurts them, but it's also tough on families as well. And the fact that there's programs in place to help the families and help the siblings, and getting to work and getting to school and making sure this and that is taken care of, and the list goes on and on and on, especially when you have a child. And we're very blessed to be in the situation that we were in, but at the same time, not everybody's there, and it's so encouraging, like I said, to see foundations and organizations put together to try to help everyone.
Well, thanks for sharing, Craig. Means a lot, obviously, to spread some awareness about that one too. And you're right; sometimes it does get overlooked, even though it is a massive deal within the body. It is a big deal with the heart, no doubt about it. Well, dude, great to catch up with you. Thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it. Fun watching you with this Rays team that's clearly thriving on the field. So we'll catch up with you down the road.
All right, I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. That's Craig Kimbrel of the Rays. And like we were talking about here on the tail end, Simon's Heart and the Babe Ruth League are actually partnering this spring to protect the hearts and lives of young baseball and softball players everywhere. So this is cool. They're spreading CPR awareness across schools and communities because, yes, you want to be able to detect heart conditions, but also sudden cardiac arrest can really be a problem, at any moment, at a place where you need help instantly. And it's actually the leading cause of death of students on school campuses. So you can learn more about hands-only CPR. Your classmate and friend will have a better chance of surviving if you're able to do that. It is very easy to learn it. And we've been posting some clips on social media too. If you're a Babe Ruth League player, coach, or parent, you can win exclusive signed merchandise from Foul Territory and other prizes from Simon's Heart too. So go to justaball.org, justaball.org to learn how to enter for a chance to win the sweepstakes.
June 22nd, and the Padres were put up for sale earlier this year, and new owners weren't officially announced, kind of, sort of, maybe, with Kwanzaa Jones and Jose E. Feliciano, but they haven't been voted in by MLB ownership yet. I wonder if you can give us an update on that situation.
Supposedly, it's going to happen later in the summer. It is not entirely clear at this point why it hasn't happened yet, except for there's a lot of things that need to be lined up, including the financing, the paperwork, for not just Jose and his wife, but the various other investors. Everything's got to be in position by that point that they take that vote. And so it's possible that some piece of that is taking longer than they would have expected. It's also possible they would have thought, no, this is about the right amount of time it would normally take. So I don't think there's anything to read into it yet. Manfred said at the June owners meeting in New York publicly to the media that he expected it sometime during the summer. And so, if we're having the same conversation in August and we don't know when the vote is, I think then you can start to raise an eyebrow.
That's Evan Drelich on Friar Territory talking about when the Padres sale will finalize. It's important because the Padres are in the mix, and this will have to do with how much AJ Preller can operate at the trade deadline because they set the budget, right? If a new owner comes in, it's a good thing, Kratz. Generally, it seems like this owner will be like, do what you need to do to get the job done, right? And Preller likes to do that. The one other thing I thought about during this conversation was the Rays. We haven't heard a lot from their ownership group, the new group, and that's okay in normal seasons, but the Rays are good. So I'm wondering, is this ownership group going to say, hey, let's try and move and shake a little bit? They've tried in the past, or they've attempted to say they've tried, right? With the Freddie Freeman token offer and the offer to get Shohei Ohtani. I'm like, okay, well, this is a good year to try that out. And you have a new ownership group that's not as cheap as the last one, I hope.
I mean, when you spend what did the Feliciano pay? Was it like $3 billion something? And and a GM goes, hey, it's going to cost us $10 million for Skubal. Guy's like, can we win a World Series? Yeah, do it. That's like nothing. I just spent $3 billion on it. Like, go ahead and do it.
So that's what you're waiting for, because if the team isn't sold yet, it's complicated, right? Because it even, it changes the pricing. They try and kind of lock everything in. It's not like it can't happen, but it is much easier to get the clean break where there's a new ownership group. They make the decisions.
That'd be tragic. That'd be tragic if that held the Rays up from making a move.
Yep. Or the Padres, but yeah.
Or the Padres.
BetMGM Locks, you win some, you lose some. We all fell. I didn't like Josh Harrison's Yankees pick. I didn't want to say it to him because he's so nice. But I was
didn't either. I wanted to
Tigers are rolling, and they got to Cole. Yeah, It happens.
I hesitated going Rays run line or the under. Gosh darn it.
I had early action on my Orioles Angels, but I mentioned how I was concerned about how well Bradish would pitch, and that was a valid concern. He was brilliant. Money bags are there. What are you doing tonight?
All right, I'm starting something. I'm starting a ladder challenge. All right, join me. All you need is $50, okay? And we're going to take one pick, and it's going to take us to 1,000. All we got to win is 6 in a row. They're easy picks. So tonight, you put $50 down, and you get George Kirby for 5+ strikeouts. People are going to be like, 5+? That's nothing. Yeah, you're right. It's at -185. You ride with me. $50 will turn into $1,000. Just ride with me. Sorry, Claude.
Wow. I didn't know this was coming, and I'm excited about it. I'll be the disclaimer. Like he says, it's easy. I wouldn't say it's easy. I've seen ladder challenges accomplished. I've seen ladder challenges failed, but I will ride with you on this one, Mr. Kratz. So I'm with you, but it can feel like, oh, I'm just going to pick these 185 pieces, and you can still get burned. But I will start with you, and I get what your play is here. You don't want to get too crazy on a ladder challenge and put yourself in unfavorable odds. So good luck to you. I'm going to hit that Orioles Angels game again and try and learn from my mistakes. So this time I'm going Orioles run line, because I'm like doing the math yesterday, and I'm like, if you like the Orioles so much, just take them on an over or take them on a run line. Why are you messing around with the over under, right? If I'm the guy that's been the high guy on the Orioles and feel like they're not being priced correctly this year and that they're hot right now, then just pick them to win the game by 2 runs or more. So that's what I'm doing. It's at +105 tonight. Ryan Johnson, 13 1/3 innings, a 12.83 ERA during that little sample size, while they go up against Shane Baz. And I'm also one of the high guys on Shane Baz. His ERA is at 4.04, but in June it's 2.92 in 4 starts. And I think he'll continue to kind of find himself there. Orioles have a top 10 offense in runs per game. They're at 4.7. That ranks 9th right now. So add all that up. There's your 2 locks of the day. Good luck to you this evening on your picks. And also, if you're going the soccer route, then you can predict a match in terms of results to win bonus bets. So they have daily pick'ems on the BetMGM app. You can go for a share of $10,000 in bonus bets each day of a game. Okay. And then that's a total of $250,000 in pick'em free to play bonus bets that are being handed out during this time period. So you'll get some questions to answer within the app. Check that out. And we'll go over our next USA pick for the Cup a little bit later this week. Coming up next, we'll slap.
Yeah, it seems like a show doesn't go by this season where we haven't criticized Zach Neto for something. We've gotten on him pretty hard. Obviously, a huge hit today, but these strikeouts are still an issue with him. How do you explain the fact this kid's got 17 homers? His OPS is in the mid 700s. He had a great year last year. His defense has been a little spotty this year, but pretty good of late. How do you explain all these strikeouts, Mark? And is there anything he can do to cut down on them? Because remember, he's still a leadoff hitter for this team.
Take today, today's starter Jack Perkins. He's a guy that has a mid-90s fastball like the rest of them, but he did look at the scouting reports like I would assume most every team does. I'm assuming the Orioles will, coming up next. First pitch of the game, slider outside of the strike zone, big swing. I'm surprised. I guess they've hinted at it on the broadcast a little bit, but it's glaringly obvious. It's the first pitch of the ball game. The approach is to do exactly what he did there at the end, and he went from having a game that was relatively mundane, actually not very good, with the bat, to being the hero and getting to do the interviews and everything else. I think he's dead set on putting 40 in the seats. I don't think he cares how he gets there. The batting average I don't feel like is important to him, and these are not critiques. It's just quite obvious what it looks like.
Hey, we're here, and I think it's obvious at this point Mark Trumbo is not a fan of Zach Neto's current approach.
So what would be the change? What would be the change that would say, oh, I can see it's different? Like shorten up. He's in the leadoff spot. He's not a leadoff hitter. I think that's okay to say. Like it's okay. Like Kyle Schwarber's a leadoff hitter.
So I was looking at fan replies because Trumbo gets a lot of play on socials, as he should. I mean, he's watching the games and he's strong-minded in his opinions. And a lot of fans were just like, yeah, he should be hitting in like the 7 hole. But also it's the Angels, and this is a guy that's got a 118 OPS plus, 326 on base, 454 slug. And yeah, he's got pop. He's got 17 homers. So I think 7's a little drastic, but what do you think? Should he be in a different spot in the lineup? Is that the question here?
I don't see. That's my question is what do you want out of Zach Neto? If he puts 40 in the seats, he knows exactly how much he's getting paid.
Let's slap, and a reminder, we'll stay on for a few minutes to take you to a little bit of college baseball talk and prospects and draft. The whole deal, Baseball America Hot Sheet will be on, so we'll make sure that you are not unentertained for the next few minutes. But Kratz hats, what do you have?
I mean, I thought it was a team we were going to talk about after they come back win. They're getting guys back. So I wore my Sox hat. When you're down in Georgia, you have to stand out, and the Sox hat does it.
It does. It's nice. Do you know, that might be one of the hats I see the most in like random spots. And then you try and go up to the person and they're not necessarily a Sox fan. They just liked the look. Yeah, like I've done this many times where I'm like come across them and I'm like, oh, go Sox, right? And they're like, oh, I just like the black and white with the hat. It's cool. I'm like, all right, we'll take it.
The black and white is sharp.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the white brim on this hat, while it's probably not going to last more than like 7 wears, like the white brim is a sharp look. It pops.
Yeah, when I know this is weird for you, but I did have a time period in life, a phase where I wore hats frequently, like to school and all of that. And black or gray was pretty much the only color I went with for hats. So I too would pick on some teams that I liked. Like for me, there was a gray Blue Jays hat that just had a really nice, I don't know what kind of retro logo. I don't remember. I'd have to look back to an old picture of myself, but it was working.
Retro. The Blue Jays don't have retro jerseys. They just have a new logo year in and year out. They're always. I played for the Blue Jays for like 6 years, and they had 3 different logos.
Hey, a couple more minutes here, and then Baseball America's Hot Sheet's going to take you through what happened in the College World Series. Stephen Schoch was great with us. If you missed it earlier, you can backtrack to it, but this is what it looks like every Tuesday live, 3 o'clock Eastern time. They're also going to talk about the proposals that came from MLB in terms of switching basically everything with the draft, the international drafts, no more high school players, the whole deal. Not going to get accepted, but still fun to kick around and explore what actually will happen. Will they get any types of changes? Could it be an international draft, which I think is definitely on the table, and they came close to pulling that off last time around. A couple other notes, one from yesterday and then one for today. Did you see Kumar Rocker? Career high 9 strikeouts, 20 swinging strikes. 20 swinging strikes. That means you are pumping a pitch in the zone and you're getting them to miss. That's a big stat for front offices. Can you get your stuff in the zone and create swing and miss out of it? That's one that I like, of course, but that's a really good number for him. And I was just diving into the Rangers rotation for a moment because you think like, oh, that's like the prime part of the Rangers. Their bullpen has been sick. Like the guy Lutz, who they found out of nowhere. DeGrom, last I checked, was the only guy who has a sub-4 ERA in that group. So the group I think was in 12th in ERA. I thought it would have been like 5th or 6th, but there's a lot of guys that are like a little over in the 4s, and you know how that ballpark plays. So I don't know. I was just a little bit surprised when I was diving into some numbers for a team that we don't cover a ton. And Rocker, by the way, he got the old sorry, dude, you're not good enough for the first inning. So he pitched in bulk innings, but he's got a 4.14. So same thing. There's a lot of guys that are just tickling that 4 line.
Their park adjusted starting rotation is bad because it should be much lower. But yeah, Kumar Rocker definitely needed an opener because his swing and miss stuff would not have worked in the first inning. So I'm glad. Sarcasm alert. Okay. But getting 20, that's why Dylan Cease got paid what he did by the Jays. And people were like, how could a guy with these numbers? Yes, I get your peripheral numbers. I get he doesn't go innings, all that stuff. Swing and miss. There is zero chance you get a hit if you swing and miss at a pitch. I know that's mind-boggling to people, but you saw what he did the other day when he came off the IL. I think it was like 29 swings and misses. Dudes that can do that get paid because there's no variance in a swing and a miss.
Also, on the topic of swing and miss, and it was a little better for him before he got hurt, Elly De La Cruz is back for the Red Legs, and that should be a nice burst of energy. They do. Hey, they had a really nice weekend rebound. I mean, they got beat up on Friday by Cam Cy Young Schlittler, and then the Yankees were beat up pretty good by the Reds offense, but like you've seen those bursts, but you're not seeing it consistently. It helps to have someone like Elly De La Cruz back because yesterday, again, I mean, it was 0-0 heading into the 10th against a good Brewers pitching staff, and Brandon Woodruff was sick, but they lost 2-1 on Monday. Elly De La Cruz back for Tuesday, who's also had a great defensive year too before he got hurt. He's improving on that side. Yes, much improved. Like just the little plays. He does the crazy stuff. Now he's doing the stuff that you want to see done that prevents the mistakes. So I'm excited. Ellie's back.
Now he needs to stay healthy. That's part of the maturation, learning what it takes. You can't just go out there and play ball at whatever level you want to play at.
Yep, agreed. All right, we'll be back on Wednesday. I should be at Todd Father's studio for that one for us 3 goofballs to give you more baseball.